Hi, friends.
Hello.
Here, I didn't know if you were going to say it there.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry.
Welcome back to Talking Tandomness with Jenna and Curtis,
hmm
where we discuss anything that's on our brain and anything that's on our mind.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
This is Curtis's episode to control.
Oh, this one is. Oh,
So,
crap! I thought I
yeah,
had
I
to.
told you that. No,
I
that's why you
thought
were
I was the
organizing your
second one.
thoughts. No,
Oh, that's. Oh,
no.
okay. Hold on. No, we're good. Um, just gotta re. Okay, so you've seen the Dave Portnoy pizza fight video, right? Where he like gets in an argument with a guy.
No, but are we starting with that or are we starting with the days of the week?
Oh, we do have days of the week. I forgot about that. I was more excited about this. Yeah, days of the week.
Okay,
Um,
wait, so background on days of the week. So in the past episodes we were doing Rosebud Thorn, but we kind of wanted to make it more personal to us or more kind of like a fun podcast thing instead of it just being Rosebud Thorn. So we thought we would do a days of the week section where you have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, obviously still following the Rosebud Thorn theme, Friday being the highs of the week, Mondays being the lows.
yeah.
Do you want me to go first?
I mean, yeah, let's have you go first. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Terrible at
I'm
this.
usually the one that puts you on the spot,
Yeah, so
so you could put
your
me on the
turn.
spot. I did want to start with days of the week. I want to start with Fridays because I feel like when I listen back to our old episodes, we get really negative on the thorn part. So we're gonna start with some positives. My Friday is I had a workshop for work,
hmm
and it was in our New York office.
Ooh.
So I got to like do the full commute to New York and
Oh, was this the
go in the
the
city.
um the one where you had to go back and forth the 2 days instead of just spending a night in a hotel that you couldn't get?
Yes, yes,
Ah,
yes. Well, so at first I was really bummed that I wasn't able to like stay in a hotel in New York. I think that experience would have been cool in itself, but I think for my professional experience, I needed to see what it was like to commute back and forth to the city with the train and the walking and stuff. And I actually really enjoyed being on the train and like doing that daily commute. I didn't enjoy how humid the city was. Every day I did my hair and my makeup, and by the time I got to the office at 8 a.m., I was sweating it off and my hair was flat. So that wasn't fun. But I really enjoyed going to the city.
that's good.
Yeah. My Wednesday of the week, I have one that's just like completely TMI, but I don't know if I want to say it. Um,
Is it the one that you told me about?
yeah.
Yeah. I
Um, I'm not gonna put that on the internet.
yeah, no, that's fair.
Um, my Wednesday of the week. Honestly, this week just felt like I was going with the flow. Like I don't know if there was super highs and super lows. It just kind of felt normal, which I guess is just the Wednesday. Like there was no specific event that stands out of being like, oh, general, but so that's my Wednesday, that it was just another week and I survived and I'm still pushing. And then I would say my Monday was I'm kind of going through some issues with a bunch of my friends,
Oof.
and none of them are related, but not a bunch of my friends, my two friends. And they're not related issues, but I just feel like we're distancing each other apart, and that's been a struggle. So I would say that's my Monday.
Um,
Your turn. Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
my Monday was Thursday. It was just not a great day at work.
Mhm.
Between just people trying to get a hold of me that there was nothing I could do about it and just non-stop, and then a whole other issue that came up that was not fun for me. Um, my Wednesday, I'll put jury duty. It wasn't great, but nothing really happened, so it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Um, my
I'm
Friday,
assuming you didn't get chosen for the
I did
trial since
not.
you don't
Here's
have jury
here's
duty anymore.
my big tip for at least, if they do jury duty like they do everywhere. If you don't want to get on a jury, go late.
Did you show up late to jury duty?
No, I showed up at 8:30 when I was supposed to. You don't show up late, just show up not at the beginning. Don't be the first one there. Be like towards the end,
Hmm.
and then you don't have to go in. It's easy enough. Listen, it's a lot
Yeah,
better tip
fair
than the
enough.
one that I heard from a police officer.
Yeah, don't give too many tips because the it's illegal to skip jury duty and you don't want to get caught by the feds.
I went to jury duty, okay?
Yeah,
I went. There were people there that I know. The one guy I didn't realize where I knew him from, and then I saw him on Wednesday at a work event, and he was like, "You were a jury dude, right?" I was like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Did you get picked?" I was like, "Nah." He goes, "I learned to go in late, so I didn't get picked." I was like, "Yep, that's the way to do it."
Oh, that's fair enough.
So that was fun.
And then what's your Friday? What was the high of your week?
The high of my week.
Hmm.
This week hasn't been great for me. My paper
That seems to
was,
be the theme of a lot of our weeks.
yeah, I guess my paper was easier to write than I thought it was gonna be. Still not done
Oh,
with
that's
it,
good.
but like it was easier than I thought.
Have we discussed that you're going back for your MBA on the podcast yet?
I
I don't
don't
think
know.
so.
Yeah, I'm doing my MBA. I'm on my second
Oh my
course.
God, I just actually thought of my Friday of the week.
What's your Friday?
Oh my gosh, I am in 3 fantasy leagues, and my
Oh,
week one, I won every single one of them.
I did that last year. It did not end well for me. I was riding high as number one for a couple weeks, and then it just crashed. I didn't see number one ever again.
Really?
Yep, it was not fun experience.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I won all of them though. Okay. Yeah, I feel like because we haven't recorded in like a month, so you've started your MBA program.
Hmm.
I've been back from my Scotland trip for like 3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I'm more
maybe two and a
surprised that we were
half.
3 episodes behind. Or sorry, we were 3 episodes ahead. That's the more impressive
Yeah,
part in my head.
yeah.
We prepared
We
really well for
really
that.
well we knew August was gonna be
Yeah.
a hard month, and then the start of September has just been brutal.
Yeah.
What else did we miss in the interim? I think that was pretty much it.
I think so.
So now that we did the days of the week, what was your Dave Portnoy thing?
So, have you seen the video of how the fight he got in with the pizza shop owner up in Boston?
No.
You haven't seen
When
that?
was this?
This was like
No.
last week.
No.
Anyway,
I don't really go on social media.
all right. Well, I'm gonna send it. I'm surprised you'd have. Well, I guess you don't go on social media. It
Okay,
was
well
pretty
just
big.
explain it.
Anyway, it was more just a thing where we were down. We walked by that pizza shop.
Really?
Yeah, it's down the street from my cousin's house.
Oh.
Uh huh.
No, I didn't see that.
And when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, I know that place." I was like, "We were there." I didn't realize it when we saw it when we were there, but seeing it after the fact, I knew it. So that's that story. More just I should probably tell you about that one. I don't remember what we decided that one. I forget. Are we going like heavy stuff at the end? Is that what we decided? Or are we going heavy in the middle, light at the end?
We start with topics like that where it's like social. Okay, I'm gonna keep this in because I feel like it doesn't need to get cut out.
No.
We're still very much so organizing how this podcast is like done and organized in the flow of content. But I would say start lighter topics, and then we
Okay.
can get in the heavier stuff in the middle, and then end on like the random
Yeah, yeah,
crazy
yeah.
stuff. I guess. Yeah.
So have you ever seen the guy on TikTok? This is where my. Oh, have you ever seen the guy on TikTok who like turns on public faucets?
No,
You don't
I
see
don't have
anything.
TikTok anymore.
That's that
I'm
hurts.
like I'm really going through it, and I guess we can get to that in like the deeper part of the
Yeah.
episode. But coming home from Scotland, I'm like really going through it mentally. So I deleted TikTok because I think it was affecting my image of myself, and I was like, it's not worth it to keep the app if literally feels like it's
That's
deteriorating my
understandable.
brain. Yeah.
Um, hmm. Well, let me go through and take on all the TikToks that I like. Anyway, there's just a guy who goes around
Oh my gosh.
turning on public faucets. He's fun. Love him. Um, can that starts hookers. I don't know what that is, and I really want to know.
Well, if you don't know what it is, skip it
I
because I
know.
can't discuss things.
Um, oh, I did have an idea for a segment eventually.
Okay.
So remember when we were on our way back from Boston, we were listening to, I think it's the We Mean Well podcast,
Yeah.
the call-in section.
Oh, that would be good once we get like
Yeah, I mean,
listeners.
everything's a, eventually kind of deal.
Yeah.
But I like that one. Um, I don't know, my life's been kind of boring lately. Been watching just a lot of random stuff. A lot of,
I could discuss my Scotland
yeah,
trip.
I kind of was like, do we want to I was gonna ask, do we want to wait for that, or you want to just do it now while still here.
No, we could do it now. I have
All
like a
right,
million notes on it.
let's do that then.
Um, well, I think to start, so okay, in my notes, wait, let me see. I wrote it in two different spots. So I took notes about the Scotland trip because I was like, I'm gonna need to discuss this,
Hmm.
and I just would like to start this whole section with the fact that before we even, like, as we were booking our flights and like unpacking our stuff, the quote that my friend kept saying was, "Prepare for the worst and pray for the best." Well, we can say that that's how the whole trip went. We started before we even got on the plane. I got a phone call saying my friend had lost her license, which doesn't seem like the biggest issue because as long as you have your passport in Scotland, that's all that mattered, except the fact that we booked a car in her name. So, if you Scotland, they drive on the other side of the road. So that was a whole adventure in itself. And no, she did not drive, and the car had to get switched to my name, and we couldn't get the car. But we were very much so every part of the trip preparing for the worst, anything that could go wrong. And so that was just like the whole thing. And as much as we talked about girl math in the last episode, and I know it was a while ago for you, Curtis, so we discussed how in my brain, because I already paid for the hostels and the hotels and the flights and all of the big bulky stuff, the next quote of the trip, besides prepare for the worst and pray for the best, was how much does it cost? We have no clue. We balled on no budget. We said we have big kid money and we just spent big kid money. So it took a couple weeks to recover from that financially, but we're getting on the right track again. So I'm not going to talk about like what we did and all of that because
Hmm.
I just don't think it was the most necessary thing. But I would like to reference the last episode when you asked, "Is Sober Sally making it to Scotland?" And I, for quote, said, "Sober
No.
Sally is not going to Scotland, but or Sober Sally is going to Scotland, but she's practicing control, not soberness," and that was a success. I think that's one of the biggest lessons I learned there
Hmm.
was I controlled my liquor very, very well in Scotland.
That's good.
Yeah, I did. I did drive on the other side of the road, so that was one sec. I have to let Davis out. If you didn't hear her big
I
loud
thought
cry,
I did.
um, I did have to drive on the other side of the road, which it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like detrimental to my sanity and be extremely costly, but it was super easy. Once you like got the flow of traffic, the hardest thing was the traffic circles, but where we were driving there wasn't a lot of cars, so it was kind of just make it through the traffic circle. And then I'm trying to think of other things. Oh, have you heard? You've never slept in a hostel, obviously, but have you heard
Obviously.
of hostel culture?
Kind of.
So when I was abroad, we did two different hostels.
Hmm.
So I stayed in one hostel where we booked the whole room, and it was just the people we knew in the room. And then when I was in Scotland the first time, we slept in a communal hostel,
Hmm.
which I guess I never told my parents about. But it was like you have a bed and you had curtains and you could close your curtains and go to sleep, but you sleep in a room with like 25 people and everyone has their own bed.
Hmm.
So I guess I never told my parents. So when I came home from this Scotland trip, we did a hostel again, but I made sure we booked an all girls one because there weren't any guys on our trip and I
Right.
felt like safety wise it made
Right.
more sense. So I was explaining to my parents like the worst thing about Edinburgh was we were in a hostel with someone that slept talked in Norwegian, I think, or like Dutch,
So it wasn't even like you could get
and
good stories out of it.
yeah, and we had two other people that snored like freight trains. And when I was telling my parents, my dad was like, "What is a hostel?" And I was like, "Well, you like book a bed and you sleep in these rooms." And he was like, "You slept in a room with people you don't know." And I just completely forgot that it wasn't like normal for my parents to hear these things. And apparently it was like my dad's worst nightmare. Like you should have seen the shock on his face when I was like, "Yes, I indeed slept in a room with people that weren't even English. Like they didn't even speak English half of them."
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even know where I was gonna go with that. I was gonna say it was safe, but I guess technically it
I
was.
felt safe. I mean, yeah, it was like me and my friend also. So if anything happened, both of us were there for each other. So it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson that I learned on the trip was when traveling with only one person,
Hmm.
you have to get your free time. We didn't. We spent every waking and sleeping moment with each other, and for half the trip we had to like share a bed. So it was a lot. We came home and it has been very much of a struggle of like you could just tell like the hostility was there at the end. And at one point it bubbled up and I snapped, which I feel really guilty about and we haven't discussed it, but it was just too much time with one person and I think that's what I learned. Like honestly, it's kind of scary too about that thought about like when you get married and you have to spend all of your waking moments with people, but
I just want to know what you're
I learned that
talking
I
about.
need it. We know I like talking, so I just ramble.
And I let that happen. It's great, and it's how this works.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think that that was the biggest takeaway is like especially when it's especially for me is I need breaks from people and I need to be able to like step away and give myself that break.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was all about the trip without going into too much detail.
Well, I mean, that's the first time I've heard that, so.
Really?
Yeah, remember we said we weren't going to talk about it because we were going to talk about it on here.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard
Yeah.
anything.
I could talk about that trip forever. I honestly left and I was like I probably could have done more. There were 2 nights.
Hmm.
We flew into Edinburgh and we did 2 nights there where it was like your typical 20-year-olds that went into another country. Like we
Right.
did the all of the crazy stuff and we like went to a bar and did that and then we took the train to Glasgow and that was like the third night there and we did nothing in Glasgow. We like got boozy brunch, we went to a nice dinner and then we ended up getting like Ben and Jerry's and watched Bridesmaids in the hotel.
I feel like that's a waste of Glasgow.
But in Glasgow, it wasn't like the safest place.
I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah, like, and when we got there, that's the vibe. And I was like, I don't want to go out in a city that we don't know that doesn't have the best transportation to get back to the hotel
Right.
and feel unsafe. So we just were just like, we need a night to rest, especially after Edinburgh. And then the next day we woke up and we drove 5.5 to 6 hours north. Their roads, oh my gosh, Curtis, their roads, it's like I had to. Maybe we haven't discussed it, but it's like one car length
Hmm.
of on the road, like width on the road, and then they have these sections that you pull into when a car's coming at you, so like you don't get hit head on.
Right.
But the roads are windy and the sections aren't lined up, so you can see around the curve. So there are points that like you're in a standoff because there's nowhere for you to go. So you're like trying to reverse into the backup spots. It's the hardest place to drive.
Yeah, that doesn't
Plus you're on
sound
the
fun.
opposite side of the road. Yeah. But then we did the Isle of Skye, and it was just like a lot of hiking and a lot of seafood.
Hmm.
And then we took the train to Inverness, which was just a lot of drinking whiskey. No, we drove to Inverness, which was just a lot of drinking whiskey there. And then we went to Aberdeen, which was again like not the safest city. So I don't even know. It was literally 3 weeks ago. My brain's blanking, but I think we just spent the night in the hotel again. But there was no TV. And then we had to rush the next morning back to Edinburgh because we had a flight at 2, which is when I snapped because, yeah, I was too lax and she was stressed we weren't going to make the flight, and those two
Yeah,
personalities clashed together.
that'll
I
happen.
I think we found this out in when we traveled together to Boston, but
Hmm.
I'm not a foodie. Like honestly, if it's edible, I'll eat it. And my my friend was a foodie, so that was one of the things that we had to compromise on was any place we ate, she had to pick out because the first night we got there, I picked a really bad Italian restaurant that I saw on TikTok and I could not live it down. Like I felt so guilty the whole trip that like one night had bad food that she picked the food the rest of the time because she loves good food. And I was like fish and chips from the side of the road sounds good.
I mean, that does sound good.
Yeah, but it was
Go
not
to
her vibe.
Nando's?
I still have never been to Nando's.
Well, don't look at me. I've never been out of the country. Oh, that's not true. I went to Canada many years ago.
many, many years ago.
Too many years ago.
Yeah. But that was all about the Scotland trip.
Well, that was fun, I
Yeah.
guess.
I'm it itched the travel bug that I had.
Right.
But it was like everyone before was like, you're gonna have a lot of fun. It's gonna be the best vacation, and I think I came home more tired than I left.
That's how those go.
Yeah.
I feel like the vacations you go and do stuff, you never come home like, man, I'm ready to go back to life. It's never that. You're always tired and you just want to go crawl into a hole.
Yeah. The so we came back, and then the following week one was Labor Day, and my whole family went to Virginia for Labor Day, and I actually ended up staying home because I was just like, I need to sleep and get caught up on my normal schedule.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
let's see, what do I have next in my list here? Um,
I just talked for like 20 minutes
hey, that's
about
fine. I
myself.
didn't really have anything. Like I said, my life is nothing right now. Um,
Yeah, that's something that I realized I can talk absolutely
and that's how
forever.
this works.
Yeah, and I didn't realize how bad it was until every time that I get on a long car ride with someone, my parents are like, "Did she talk your ear off?
Eh,
Did she let you get a word in?" And I'm like, I didn't. I
I'll
just
fight
love
my way in if I
talking."
want to talk. If I don't want to
Yeah,
talk, I get to just sit there and listen.
yeah.
Well, you're not on TikTok. There goes that one that I found kind of funny. So there's this guy on TikTok. I'll still tell it. On TikTok that will just go and talk about. How do I want to phrase this? He doesn't talk about. Sorry. He like keeps track of all like the videos where it's like people asking girls. It's like, what are your icks? And so he will like just keeps track of them, and he's up to 200 and something. And they're things like don't get hurt. Cause like I
Mhm.
saw a guy limp once, and that was a major ick. Or don't get hit by a car. It's a major ick.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why?
Why what?
Why is a guy limping an ick?
I don't I don't know how to explain it,
Oh no, please
but
do.
like little things do. I don't know if that was the point of this section, but like
It's
little
I
things
mean
do
kind of.
give the ick. Like I think I talked to you about it, and this is a really bad one. Wait, a guy's making these? Let me
No,
backtrack.
no,
A
a guy
guy's
is
making
keeping
these?
track of them.
Oh,
Like he has a list
so
of 200.
yeah, like for example, an ick that I got is I was at the gym and I was watching the TV, and there was a person on the TV that was it was a man, and he was sitting backwards on the chair, which is like a standard male thing to do. But in that moment, I looked at it and I was like,
Mhm.
that is my ick right there. I looked at it like it was the most disgusting thing on the earth, and now I can't see a man in a backwards chair and like think it's fine. I'm like, no, indeed an ick, and I need to get that clip out of my hand. Um, but it's just something that I think men have it too, but like obviously you guys don't call it an ick, but it's just like something that triggers your thought. It's like, oh, they're a little less attractive now.
I
Like
mean, I think we just call it a deal
well,
breaker,
no, because it's
but
not a
it's
deal
not like
breaker. Like I wouldn't say, I'm trying to think of how I used to phrase it. Maybe an ick is a deal breaker. I think if it's
it is. It's just phrased differently.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that. Maybe it's more of like a red flag. How I don't know because I feel like some if it's like an extreme ick, it's a deal breaker. But like a man with a limp, I could see it though. It's like, what did you do to get that limp?
I mean, one of them, and I just pulled up the guy, is like, don't put car blinkers on. She's like, I saw him use his turn signal once, and
Huh,
that was just a
that's
major
just
ick.
dangerous for not doing it.
Don't laugh, don't use emojis, don't run in
Okay,
water, don't be named something starting with a J, don't have pineapple on pizza, don't go bowling, don't
okay, the
have a
J one
shower,
is fair.
don't breathe when talking.
The J one is
Don't,
fair. The J name curse is indeed a real thing. Some of them I think girls say as jokes and are taken seriously. Like there's the one girl that makes the videos like things that are only meant for girls. And it was like washing your sheets or something. It was like things that are obviously meant to be taken as a joke, but not all people take it as a joke. Like the first three that you said, all probably were.
I don't know. I mean, it's all they all come from like the on the street interviews, so I don't know how much of a joke
Yeah.
those are.
What's your number one
Like
deal
they're
breaker?
unprompted. Mind smoking.
No, like not something. Is it icks and like icks aren't something that's so obvious. Like like a
That's my deal breaker though.
no, but like in an ick statement, like
Yeah.
obviously my deal
I
breaker
don't
would be
know.
like a guy on steroids or something like that. But my ick is someone like a man sitting backwards on a chair. Something like silly like that that you're like, "Oh, ugh."
I I don't
Is
have
this
one.
another situation like girl math? Like
Yeah, guys don't have one.
I know, I genuinely think they do because I have a lot. I before I went to Scotland, we talked about it, and it's going to be a lot sooner for the
Hmm.
viewers because they or the listeners because they it was 2 episodes ago. But we talked about my French trip. On my French trip, we put someone's Tinder on the screen, and it was the girls controlling his Tinder and his
Oh, you
Hinge.
never told me this one.
Yeah, it was so much fun. But we put the Tinder and the Hinge on the screen and we controlled it for the night. And like we were just like it was like 3 hours worth of time where we just like spent going through his Tinder. And there were things that he said were icks that like he didn't call them an ick, but he was like, oh, she did that. No. For example,
Oh,
a
hold
girl
on.
had her Tinder bio on the screen and it was all lowercase. There was no punctuation. There was no like capitalization. Nothing proper. And he was like, that's an ick.
Um, yeah, no, I can. I don't know if I have any of them in here. Don't want to give. No, I get that now. Um, I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head because I don't have any off the top of my head. Um, oh yeah, when they put most likely won't message first. That one's like
Not
why?
now you're going straight off your Tinder bio, but just things you see on a daily basis.
Yeah, I don't
Like
see things on a daily basis though.
like
I'm not
another
looking at
example
it.
of one of mine is like if I'm driving in my car and I see a guy and he's like has his hand out the window and is like waving to the music or like going crazy ham in his car dancing. I'm like that's an ick. Oh my god, no.
So I'm gonna hang up now, and we're just gonna be done, cause you sound like you don't like fun. Like,
But like not with other like if you're by yourself.
yeah, no.
Like if
Do you think I
you
drive
can
with people?
sing and you can do of that, but like if you're obnoxiously jamming out in your car, that's an ick to me.
Yeah, no.
But like things like that, like things on a daily basis that it's not something you're actively looking for, but then it hits you in the face and it's like, oh, watch, you're gonna go out tomorrow and you're gonna do something and you're gonna find something that you don't like and you're gonna be like, that's an ick.
All right, and when I don't, I will let you know.
Yeah, keep us updated. But a lot of those videos, the ones you see on the female side that are like things men just shouldn't be able to do. And some of them are crazy like oh my god, I'm trying to think of like an outrageous one. Like eat ice cream. I think that was one of them. Like men shouldn't be able to eat ice cream. You're not allowed to indulge in sweets. Like obviously that's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a different context of when they're saying it versus like the on the street style
Yeah,
ones.
the on the street ones, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, those all come from like on the street ones.
Some of them too are just like how do you that's like the daily life task.
One was don't type in lowercase.
Okay, not that that's an ick for me, but I could see it because I'm really big on like punctuation and capitalization.
I mean, I get it, but I don't text. The only reason I text and my text messages have proper capitalization is because autocorrect. Otherwise, I would not.
Yeah.
I don't bother with that when I
Speaking
text. It's not.
speaking of technology, have you seen the iPhone 15 that was just released?
I did, and I hate it.
Why?
I hate all the new iPhones. Like they're just the same thing again, but
This
like a
one,
slightly better camera
yeah, I am getting the iPhone 15 now. A,
because you want the USB-C charger.
well, also my phone can't stay charged for over 3 hours right now, so
Okay, now that's a reason.
yeah, it's not feasible. And then I'm getting the 15 for the USB-C. I think I've put put out? No. Put off long enough. My phone's like 4 years old, so I have to get a new one.
Understandable.
Yeah. But I did see it, and I'm glad they didn't go with the completely wireless idea,
Hmm.
because that would have ruined my
No, I'm
life.
absolutely happy they didn't do that.
Yeah. I just think they should make phones cheaper. Like, they shouldn't be $1,200.
No, I agree with that.
Sorry, I just hijacked a large portion of your episode.
Not listen, I don't care. I was less prepared than I thought I was. Um, let's see. We were on Tinder, so I guess we're gonna stay with that. Did I ever tell you about the girl my sophomore year who wanted me to go to prom? I feel like I've told you this story.
No.
Oh, yeah. So she wanted me to go to prom. Now, I said no, and I'm gonna leave that at that for the reasons that it is.
Yeah.
Other than I was a sophomore and we had a track meet that day, and I was like, I don't think I can make it. But I didn't really want to go.
Mhm.
So I said no, and so her stepsister messages me and goes, "Hey, listen, even if you don't want to go or like date her, you should still just go to make her happy." I'm like, um,
No.
now it's an absolute no. So I messaged with her the other day, and I was like,
Why?
well, I'm still doing the process of the experiment of just swiping right on everybody
Oh,
just
oh, 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 oh,
because.
yeah. So she popped up and you
Um,
swiped and you ended up messaging her.
I didn't even know she looks popped up. I just kind of do it without looking half the time.
Mhm.
So that was a thing. I did actually see her
You tell the
yesterday. I was
most
walking out of the
broad
hospital.
stories. Add some more detail, Curtis. Come on.
Well, like what? I saw the girl who asked me to prom yesterday.
Well, you said you messaged her, so you matched with her on Tinder?
Oh no, no, no! I didn't message her. I just matched with her on Tinder.
You said I was messaging her the other day.
Oh, no, I matched with her the other day.
Oh, okay. So then you saw
Yeah.
her in person, you started talking to her?
No, I didn't talk to her.
Oh, you just
Kidding me?
saw her in person.
Yeah, I just saw her in person. I was like, oh, she still exists. I didn't know where she went because she was originally going to our college,
Our college?
and I never our college.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then I never saw her there, and I was like, man, I wonder what happened to her. Never heard anything, never saw anything. I'm like, well, maybe she's dead. Um, so I was like, I just kind of went about my life thinking she's not even around in town anymore. And then I saw her yesterday, and I was like, guess she's not. Good to know. I'll keep an eye out.
So,
Um,
long story short, someone asked you to prom your sophomore year. You said no. She fell off the face of the earth. You matched with her on Tinder. Then you saw her in person. You said, "Oh, she's still alive."
yeah, basically that was my that was the story. See, you make it a lot more complicated than it has to be.
I don't make it a lot more complicated. You suck at telling stories.
I don't
We're gonna
tell
work on it.
stories.
That's our.
Yeah,
We're
we
gonna
are.
promise our audience that Curtis is gonna get better at telling stories.
Yeah, I mean, I have things in my head and then they just don't come out the way I want them to,
Fair enough.
and that's my life.
Fair
I'm
enough.
used to it at this point.
I
Let's see,
went
what else do I have on
segue.
here?
I went grocery shopping the other day. I never see anyone I went to high school with. Something that like I'm super proud of. And I went grocery shopping like last weekend and I saw 3 or 4 people I went to high school with. Didn't talk to a single one of them. It was like the eye contact and book it the other way. But I realized I'm never going grocery shopping at that grocery store again because I don't want to be seeing people went to high school with.
That's fair. I don't mind seeing people I went to high school with.
Do
I
you
didn't have a
talk to
problem
them?
with any of them. No, I don't talk to them. Like I'll say hi.
Oh, I don't do that.
Um, I'll do like a hey, how are you? And then like go about my business.
I I did it in college too. I have this weird thing where my brain my brain makes me believe that if I haven't talked to you in 3 years, you don't remember who I am. Like you could have been my best friend, and I'm like, you probably don't remember me. So when I see people and they like look at me, I'm like, oh, they have no clue who I am right now.
Yeah, no,
And I
I
know that's
I do
incorrect.
that. Well, I do that, but it's because people actually don't know who I am anymore sometimes because I don't look the same.
Fair.
Um, so I've done that a couple times. I've looked people in the face and they have no idea who I am. Like people I graduated with in my class,
Hmm.
and they're just like, "Oh hey, what can I get for you?" And I'm like, "Hi." I don't go into it. You kidding me? The less I have to interact with those people, better.
I am nosy though, so I wish I could like ask and be like, "Hey, what are you guys up to
Yeah.
now?" But no part of me wants to do that.
No, I don't care. If I do care, I'll look you up on Facebook.
None of them have it on Facebook. This is me like showing my
Eh,
stalker senses, but there's a bunch of people I went to high school with that I'd love to see where they are, and I just cannot find them on Facebook.
you gotta go to their parents sometimes.
Fair.
That'll find it for you.
So we're a bunch of nosy people. What else?
Yep. I feel like you get mad at me when I'm nosy sometimes.
It depends on who you're being nosy about. Like, for
I don't think the
example,
last
you
one's
were
fair.
nosy
I
the
don't
other
think the
day.
last one's
I do
fair.
because if you hadn't known, she's not the biggest fan of you. So then you were being nosy about her, and I was like, oh my god, she's gonna find out and she's gonna freak out on me.
I mean, just don't work in a place where that's possible. That's just. I mean, listen, you could find out some information about me that way. I mean, it's not like anything important or anything, but you could.
Yeah, you could. I don't think you could find
Hmm.
anything. Just you can find my job title, but that's all you're finding online about me.
You could find that I made $25 a night
Yeah.
for
Okay. What
like
else is
three
on your
months.
short list? Or do you have any deep topics you want to discuss? We can get into
There
deep.
was one. It was also from a TikTok I saw that I sent you that makes sense why you never responded now.
Sorry, I'm really going through it over here.
Listen, I was gonna call you on Thursday because I felt like it was my turn to rant, but I forgot on my way home
Oh,
from eating dinner with my dad.
anytime. My phone is always open for a rant.
Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of did in text, but I really that was a long day for me.
Yeah.
Just one after another.
Yeah.
Um, so it was a TikTok that I sent you about the realization, and it was just this girl who was like, after you've had the realization, and she's just like moping around her house, like, and then just lays face down on the couch, and I was like, took me a second, I was like, oh, that realization that there's really just nothing after college. Like life is just,
The
you
endless
know, a
cycle of
thing.
work. Yeah.
Yep, yep, that's the realization.
I I would like to think of us as like like eventually get to the point that like we're people's big sisters, big brothers and big sisters that are listening. Like we take that big sibling role on.
Hmm.
And I don't want to say that I don't think life is nothing after college, but I think that it's harder to get excited about things after college.
I feel like there's less to get excited. Not
Yeah,
that there's
like
less, but there's not.
it's almost like you have to yourself create things to get excited about after, which is hard for
Right,
a lot of people. Because I don't want to put up like especially if we have like eventually we have younger listeners. I don't want to make it seem like college is the end all be all and then after like you're gonna just do
right,
nothing. But it is a hard adjustment into the workforce, whether that be corporate or like construction or whatever type of work people are doing. But it's hard to get into the day to day of, oh my God, for the rest of my life, I'm going to have a job that I wake up and go to work and I come home and I clean and I cook and I go to bed. Like that's a hard
Uh,
realization.
yeah. And I mean, there's good parts of it. Like there's I enjoy the parts of my life where I get to go like hang out with my
Mhm.
coworkers outside of work. I always find that fun, and I look forward to that stuff. But it's very far and few between
Yeah.
that it's between each one in the lulls and like the downswings of life that it gets a little bit boring.
Yeah, and I think you truly have to make up the life of like what you truly have to make
Right.
your life what you want it to be. Like for example, recording this on a Saturday night at 10 o'clock and I'm laying in bed in my pajamas, probably gonna go to bed after this. Like, am I making it the most of my life what people think like coming out of college or whatever where you go out and party with your friends and stuff. Like, no, I'm not living that life, but I don't think I'm at the point that like I've hit depression because I do my day to day and I don't do anything like that. Like, I think I'm very much enjoying where I'm at, but I do agree that there's like an emptiness, like almost like a fear of what's next after college.
I figure that was it.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone should ever feel like they peaked
Yeah.
because of that. Like, don't look at your life now and be like, oh, I definitely peaked in college. Or if you hear people say, like, oh, I peaked in high school, like, never look at it that way. Look you never know what's coming up in the future. I'll
Right.
get off my soapbox now.
No, I mean that leads into the one thought that I had about it, which is like I feel like there's a lot of like people our age who basically continue to try to live a college life
Yeah,
after college, and I think that's part of it.
yeah.
Is like they don't. I think people we know, um, they don't want to give it up,
hmm
and I think that's hard for them.
Yeah, and I also
But
think going with that, it's if if your life passion is to be like a super social person that we're gonna throw the example out that like goes out and drinks 3 or 4 nights a week and has that super social environment, like don't feel shamed for having that either. If that is what you want, it's out there for you, but also know what's healthy in that set of being able to keep up for the long term. And I
right,
don't know how feasible it is to be like, yes, it is, I'm going to be able to keep up that and stay on that high after so on and so forth after schooling ends.
and I feel like, at least for me personally, like I miss the having something all day on a Saturday,
hmm
like the knowing that I'm gonna be busy when I have nothing to do. 'Cause that's really the worst part is having nothing to do and trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah. So I talked about it in my intro too, but I've done sports my entire life. So that was the hardest adjustment for me,
Mm-hmm.
not even post college, but post our last track meet after college. Just,
Because that was early.
yeah, I think we had like almost a week and a half, 2 weeks between that and that and finals. So
Yeah.
it's hard for me to stay motivated and keeping going in those times. And it's been like that my whole life. Like my mom used to say, like once soccer ends, it's I spend more time in bed, or it takes me a lot longer to get things like laundry done and stuff. It's because I don't have that motivation, like time crunch of, oh, I know I have 3 hours here where I have to get stuff done, and then I have class and homework and school and sports. Like once that disappears, it's, oh, I have free time. I'm gonna scroll on my phone for a little bit longer, and I have all day to do things. And so I really rely on that schedule, and that was the hardest adjustment back for me was, oh, you don't have a schedule anymore. You make your own schedule. Figure that out.
Yeah. I feel like that's part of too. Like I heard it going into college a lot was that the people who are busy all the time with like all these extracurriculars and all the sports and all the other things that they do in high school, they struggle going to college because of how much free time they have.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's not talked about after college for the people who are busy in college.
yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Because
I feel like
that's
that
what
should
kept
be
me
talked about.
going in college is the fact that
Right,
I
this
packed my schedule with everything from Greek life to sports to academics to working, so I never had to have that break. And then I graduated, and now I have, all weekend.
2 day weekends, man. They're a lot.
Yeah. We said something
And I feel like
earlier that I wanted to get on a soapbox about, but I can't remember what it was. It was something to do with the keeping up the social environment.
people we know,
No, it was
um,
about I can't remember. I lost my train of thought.
happens a lot.
Yeah, it's just like,
Not for you, just
do you know? Have you seen? Obviously, you have seen it. Shark Boy and Lava Girl when they have like the actual train of thought and it just derails. That's
hmm.
every time I have that. That's where that I like every time I think about, oh, I lost my train of thought. That's what my brain goes to.
I feel like those old movies are resurfacing a lot now.
They are.
I like it.
Can I hijack a
I think
topic that probably should have went earlier, but I'm gonna steal right now?
no, that's fine. We'll maybe we'll end on something positive because we're at 50 minutes right now.
Yeah, I think like 10 minutes of it will get cut though because we kind of
Yeah.
went off wire. But four. So I haven't seen the videos because obviously I deleted. Oh my God! Wait,
Hmm.
train of thought just derailed back. Delete all of that. My train of thought that I had lost was, I think, an influence into that fear or like that like no like unknowingness or however we explained it
Hmm.
of at post college. I think social media is
Hmm.
exemplifying. Is that the word? That
Exasperating.
yeah,
Um,
like
Amplifying.
amplifying, that's the word. Amplifying that feeling of what am I doing, because you see people
Hmm.
you went to college with that are going out with college people every weekend, or you see people you went to high school with that are like going to the bars and everything every weekend. And it makes the feeling of, oh, I'm staying in, or oh, I don't have someone to hang out with on a Thursday night and I feel lonely. It makes that so much worse because you see people you know and it kind of creates that envy. And I'm going to give some big sister advice here. Not everything you see on social media is how it is in real life, which is the common quote that everyone says. But coming from someone like, I talk to a lot of people that I went to college with, and the things that you're seeing, it's just what they want you to see. Like, you're not seeing that they're struggling with their job or that they can't pay their rent or stuff. You're only seeing that, oh, they have a social life. Or, oh, they are keeping up that ambitious college life. Like, don't take social media with such a grain of salt, which is why I'm like trying to limit that, because it's not worth it to look at that and compare yourself to these people.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it a lot. I look at it and I'm like, oh man, I wish like any of my friends lived closer.
Yeah. And that's coming from my workshop, that's they all talked about how, oh, I go out and oh, I do this, and oh yeah, I went to a fancy dinner in the city the other night, and like I was sitting there like, I don't have friends to do that with in the area. Like, all of my friends live in back in our college town, or I said all my
Hmm.
the big I said I have a bunch of friends that are still in college, and they were like, you're 23, why do you have that? So then it was like, I shouldn't feel guilty that I have younger friends, or I shouldn't feel guilty that I have a friend that lives across the
No,
country, or two friends that live 300 miles away. Like, that's not something that I should feel bad about because I'm confident in my relationship with them. But it was this like, is this feeling of like, oh, should I have fancy dinners every so often? And it's like, I eat dinner with my parents every night, and I love being around my parents, and they're actually my world. So no, I don't need to have these big fancy things, and I don't need to go clubbing and partying, and like, I'm very content where I am. And I think it took a while for me to learn that.
yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, I don't know what to add to that. I mean,
Another soapbox.
everything you said is true. Yeah,
Soapbox and preach.
I don't want to get another soapbox.
Yeah. But
Other
oh,
than,
so now
no, I don't even know where I was gonna go with that.
so
I'll
now
drop it.
I could jump back to the topic before my train of thought railed back on. Um, so I don't have TikTok, but my two work friends started typing in our group chat about the Roman Empire TikToks that are going around.
You know,
Have
I
you
was like,
seen
man, I'm
them?
gonna get away with this.
So
I was gonna like, nah, I'll wait and see if she like maybe somehow
was
found
this
it out
was
or
this on your list?
it did not come on my list because I just started seeing it this week.
Again,
Um,
hijacking your topics. But I have to know because so they typed and one of them has a boyfriend,
mhm.
and she was like, so I asked about the Roman TikTok, and they were talking about it super generally, and I was like,
Mhm.
wait guys, I don't have TikTok, like what's going on? So they sent it. I have to know, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
The Romans specifically, I don't know, every couple months.
How often do you think
Like, I
about
mean,
like the times like that?
pretty often.
Like, in
Like,
what context?
I don't know, just like I'd like to be like back in the olden times and whatnot. And I mean, the Romans are incredible. Like, I like to think about the Byzantine Empire, like before the Romans. That's fun. Um, I don't know. There's just something about it. It's just fun, an
So
enjoyable
I think
conversation.
that's mind blowing because the only time I think about the Roman Empire is when I use the phrase Rome wasn't built in a day, maybe once every 9 months. And I don't even think about the Roman Empire in that. I just think about like, Rome wasn't built in a day. But the idea that that I'm gonna say the male gender, because apparently that's the thing, um,
Yeah.
thinks about it quite frequently, boggles my mind. Boggles
I
my
mean,
mind.
Rome's awesome. Cause I mean, one of the things that I've
Is
loved.
it?
Well, actually, yeah. You ever see what they do with the Colosseum?
The Colosseum
They
lasted like
flooded.
90 days. They went bankrupt building the Colosseum, had a party for 9 days with it,
Oh, that's what I think about a lot.
and then it went under, and then they literally, if you go to the Colosseum, the reason half of the Colosseum's not there is because it was sold off to build parts
Yeah.
of the city in Rome because they couldn't afford to keep up with it.
Yeah.
They quite literally bankrupted their city.
Yeah. But I mean, the aqueducts are still used today, man. Like that's cool.
Craziness. Oh, so then in the group chat we were talking about what is the I wish I had my phone. I don't know where it is. What is the female version of the Roman Empire? Question. And
The Dyson Air Wrap.
is that the ones you saw?
No.
Oh, so they were talking about. Oh, there it is. I'm like, where did I put my phone? You were controlling the episode, so I threw it. They said, I'm trying to find our group chat. The Shakira and J-Lo halftime show. I don't relate to that one, but that's one of my friend's
No.
answers. Then one of them said the Beyonce, Coldplay, Bruno Mars halftime show. And then I said today, because I've been thinking about it a lot. I don't think I think about a general topic that often, except my text verbatim, my version of the Roman Empire question, 2003, Pride and Prejudice, my final answer. That's it. I think about that on the daily basis. Which I guess it relates back because the Roman Empire, like 1700s times, equates to each other. Like thinking about
I
elder
guess
times.
so. The one thing I do think about a lot is the Library of Alexandria. That one comes up probably once a month in my head.
Really?
Yeah, I love that place.
I didn't actually. So there's a documentary on Netflix called Cleopatra, I think it's called,
Hmm.
or something that has to do with Cleopatra. And I didn't remember what the Library of Alexandria was till I watched that documentary.
Oh, I love the Library of Alexandria.
I still
It
don't
makes me
actually
so sad
understand
every
it.
time I think about it. Basically, was it the Roman? No. Yeah.
Isn't it the Egyptians?
I was thinking it was the Egyptians, but we are
It
talking about Rome,
the
so it's throwing me
Library of
off.
Alexandria was in Egypt,
Yeah.
I think.
It's in Alexandria. Yeah. What am I talking about? It's in Alexandria. They made a new one actually, which I want to go see. Um, it's on my. That's why Egypt's on my bucket list. Uh, and any piece of written paper or knowledge that would come through the port in Alexandria, they would confiscate, copy, and then put into the library.
Mhm.
So it was just the largest collection of written knowledge in the history of the world. And no one knows what was in it or how much knowledge they had or anything like that. But we lost so much knowledge, and we could be so much further ahead in technology, but we might not be, but we'll never know because the library was destroyed.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew it wasn't like burnt or knocked
Yeah, it
down or
burned
something.
down. There is a theory that there is an annex to the library
Mhm.
somewhere in like a desert. I don't know exactly which one. The unfortunate part is that it's underneath. It's believed to be underneath a church.
Mhm.
Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that shows like it's underneath. I want to say it's a Muslim church, whatever that religion is off the top of my head. You can correct
Muslim.
me, bleep me out. Yeah,
That's
I said it
fine.
right.
Yeah.
Um, it's believed to be under one of those church, like a mosque. Yeah, it's underneath a mosque, and
Have they gone and
they
excavated it?
can't, no, they can't
Why?
because they won't let them.
Oh, so they just
They
haven't
won't
given you
like they
permission.
said we will take the ground, we will move the entire mosque to the side so we can like look. And they're like, no, you can't touch it. You can't touch the mosque.
Hmm.
So we may have found an annex to the Library of Alexandria which has just a snippet of the information that we lost, but we'll never know.
That's wild.
And that one makes me sad a lot.
Did you see? I'm really hijacking your episode, but
You're really not.
did you see? This is segueing from old things. The
Hmm.
aliens that came out of
I did.
Mexico.
I did, and
I've
I
seen
also
this on
saw that.
I've seen this on three
Oh,
different
go ahead.
podcasts, so I don't know how much detail you want to go into it. But how do you feel about it? And also, what did you see? What were you gonna say? You said I just
What I
saw.
was gonna say, it goes into how I feel about it. But I've seen where the X-rays of those
Hmm.
match X-rays from like 10 years ago, like 5 years ago, of something else,
Of what?
like just another like mummified corpse, and it's like almost identical.
So were you in support of the bodies, or are you saying they're paper mache?
I think they're paper mache or the very least, if they wanted to use an actual body, just an actual body that they're lying about.
I People are saying so I don't know if this was on the Fellas podcast or Impulsive because I think they both
Hmm.
talked about it. But I do kind of agree with the concept of people are saying, how do you expect the aliens to look like this ET looking thing?
Right.
And I do agree with the concept of this idea that we have of what looks like an alien is not something that's new. Like that idea has been carved into mountains and like it's not something that we got the shape of an alien from somewhere. You know what I mean? And
I'd
like
raise you the Egyptian gods.
what do you mean by that?
Those could be aliens. How do we know those aren't aliens?
Like the cat looking things?
Yeah.
Okay, I
How do we know those aren't what aliens look like?
I don't want to sound crazy because I don't want that portrayed on the internet, but I just think the idea had to come from somewhere. So if they came out to be true, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, do they look a little paper mache? Absolutely. But the idea of aliens wasn't just something that was created by humans, like in the past 100 years. Like this has been something that's been talked about
No.
for centuries on centuries. So it had to have been originated from somewhere. Now, is it the idea of the Greek gods? I don't know because my belief in religion as a whole is kind of crazy, but I'm a Christian to say the least. But the idea of gods was like the idea of a god or gods itself was just to kind of give explanation.
Explanation.
That's the word to things that the humans couldn't process themselves. So I think that's where the idea of the Egyptian gods came from. And they looked at a cat and they said, "Wow, that looks super
Yeah.
majestic. We'll make that of our god, or that our god." The same thing as elephants and cows and all of these other things that we world around the world you portray as a higher being.
Listen, I love thinking about like the history behind religions. I still think cows are funny.
I just don't know how you look at a cow. Oh, I don't want to shame someone's religion, but I don't know how you look at a cow and you're like, yeah, that's a higher being.
I mean, like I said, I love Buddhism and I love Hinduism,
Mhm.
like very interesting religions. I've done a lot of like I haven't done like research because that's not the right word, but I know a decent amount about them
Yeah.
just from like various media and then like rabbit holes, and I find it all very interesting and I love it. Like I love Vishnu. Vishnu and the seven avatars of Vishnu are really interesting.
Mhm.
Um, but I still find the whole cow bit just perplexing and funny. Oh, that's fine. No, you didn't really hijack my episode at all, though. Like I said, I haven't had much going on. Um, two of my like throwers, they both got concussions, and my response was just when my dad told me, I was like, "Yeah, that tracks."
Yeah.
I mean, the one has a dented rib as well, but she got it in gym class.
Sometimes injuries check out.
Yeah, they do. There's a lot of time that happens.
Yeah.
I went to a high school football game last night. That
Hey,
was
is that where you were? You were at a high school football
Yeah,
game?
I was at a high school football game
Why?
because I went to go support my kids.
Oh, no, thank you.
Oh, listen, I'm a good coach, okay?
Yeah, you would never see me at a high school football game.
I said the words gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss,
Oh
and
Lord.
the one with the concussion goes, and that's why he's the best coach ever.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. You are not allowed to say that. Specifically you.
I said it as a joke because they were talking about gaslighting, and I go, the three G's: gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
Those are the three G's. And I'm at like the stage where I'm like, am I gaslighting? Probably. Like, am I part of the problem?
Everyone's part of the problem.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes this is very easy.
I feel like I gaslight all
You
the time,
do.
and I don't. Okay, are you gonna go off of the thing where just like everything I say that I don't know the answer of is gaslighting?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know the answer to a lot of things, and I give the answer like I know it, and then I just say, yeah, that's what I think at least.
No. I just think you are the king of saying, I'm not gaslighting you, you're just crazy.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Which
Like,
is,
why would I not say that? I
yeah,
mean, that's absolutely gaslighting. I'm aware of that.
yeah.
That's fun. I do it on purpose.
Yeah.
That was also said last night, not by me.
That's like the worst saying ever from someone that was extremely gaslit.
Me?
No, from me. I said that's the
No.
worst saying ever from someone that has been extremely gaslit.
No.
Yeah.
You were never gaslit.
Hmm. Mm.
I don't believe it.
So you don't believe in gaslighting because you're crazy.
I do believe in gaslighting.
Hmm. Did I tell you
Really
I'm
don't know.
going back to our college next month?
No, you didn't.
I am not going for homecoming because I said I wasn't going to that this year. But I am going back to Central Pennsylvania to see the Taylor Swift movie.
What?
Yeah, I'm driving a very long time just to see the movie because I promised my absolute best friend that I would see it. We were supposed to see the concert. We waited in like 5 queues and waited for 7 different cities and could not get tickets anywhere. So I told her when the thing came out, I said I would drive out to see it the movie with her. So now I'm driving out the weekend before homecoming to go watch the movie in the movie theater in our college town because my best friend lives there.
Makes sense.
Yeah, well, I'm driving out Saturday, hanging out with my friends that are still in college, and then going to the movie Sunday and driving home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if she's still out there, but yeah. What else do you got on your list? No more TikToks. We're done with social media.
Um, what else do I have on my list? Hmm. Me wanting to snowboard. That's on my list, but
Are you
that's
craving
I
a
feel like another.
vacation?
Hmm.
I said,
Not
are
a
you craving a
vacation.
vacation?
No. I want to snowboard, but my hip's still not good enough to snowboard.
Oh,
I
are
told you
you
what
doing
happened last time,
PT?
right?
Are you doing PT?
No.
Why don't you do like Google videos of PT for your hips so you can get to the point that you can
Yeah, no, I've
snowboard?
seen stuff to do, and I'm like,
Google's at your
oh yeah,
fingertips.
I'll do that. But then remember how we were talking about like you have a lot of time and like you're not used to that much time, so you do nothing with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
Unlike you, I have not been able to muster the motivation to go to the gym.
That's fair enough. I'm like losing all my motivation now is just like hitting a step count a day. I'm like, please, for the love of God, break 2,000 steps.
I'm like, man, the discipline I used to have to like work out on days where we had like no obligation to was
Mhm.
insane. Where was that?
I
Where
have
did that go?
gone, gone. Now my body's like every step you make, you hurt. It's like the sorry. Oh, it's like the picture I sent you where it was like my body's
Oh yeah,
23, my hips are 35, my shoulders are 42, and my back is 73.
I mean I felt that yesterday when I was standing at the football game,
Hmm.
and my back just was like, you're gonna regret this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, I hope we'll do one next week. I don't know. We'll figure it out eventually.
Hmm.
Um,
As long as we
July go
consistently
by.
upload, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, I've been semi-consistent. It's been once a week.
Yeah, I think this one was more of the lines of like what I want to do and talk about in the long run with the deeper conversation. So I hope the people
Hmm.
listening take our advice, don't take our advice, listen with a grain of salt, and then take what you want from it. But I hope
I
you
mean,
enjoyed.
yeah. And I got
Bye.
you to do it again. Goodbye.
Yeah.